there, Ellen here with Serendipity Needleworks. Welcome to another episode of Needlepoint TV. I'm so happy to have you here with me. Today, we're going to talk about hand care for needlepointers. So as you know, your hands are your most important tool that you use when it comes to your needlepoint hobby, because if we didn't have the use of our hands, well, we couldn't stitch, right? So taking really good care of your hands is super important. And because as I've gotten older, I've noticed that my fingers are not as limber as they used to be, and I have more hand fatigue than I did when I was much younger. So what I've done is I've actually scoped out and gathered up 6 exercises that have helped me with hand strength, working on getting those muscles in my hands to be stronger and my joints and fingers to be more flexible. And I want to share those with you. And before we start, I do want to make sure that I encourage you, if you have arthritis in your hands and you've been diagnosed by a physician that you do have arthritis in your hands, you may want to check with them before doing these exercises. I by no means am a physical therapist or a physician, so please know that this is something that you need to talk to your physician about to make sure that it's safe for you to do these exercises, because I don't want anybody to injure themselves. So now let's talk about hand exercises. So as a needle pointer, we want our hands to be as strong and flexible as they can be. And these exercises are designed to work the muscles in your fingers and your hands and the joints in your fingers and your hands to help build up that hand strength. We'll begin with the very first one that's called the duck bill. And so what you're going to do is you're going to hold your hand up and then bend your fingers at the large knuckle in your hand. So hold your hand up, bend your fingers over. Keep your fingers straight. You're just bending at your large knuckle. So back and forth, just like this. And you're going to want to do that 10 times with each hand. You will maybe notice that your dominant hand, the one that you use the most, is going to be stronger. So you may not feel the same amount of pulling in your hands and fingers. If you feel a lot of strain though, stop, because you don't want to overdo it. You may have to build up to 10 repetitions. So if you can only do 4 or 5, or if you can only do a couple, that's okay. Just know that you can build up to the goal of 10. All right, so that's exercise number 1, the duck bill. Some people call it the tabletop. The next exercise is called the claw. So you can actually move into the claw from the tabletop. And that's where you bend your fingers up and you're bending the first and second knuckle, the second and third knuckles in your fingers. This is your first knuckle in your hand or in your fingers. And then these knuckles that are your middle knuckle and the knuckle that's the closest to your fingertip, that's your second and third knuckle. So if you have tabletop, bend up into the claw. You're no longer bending these large knuckles. You're now bending the second and third knuckle. So tabletop, claw, tabletop, claw. And you can begin to feel this in your hands. And again, do 10 repetitions. So you've got those 2 exercises now. You've got tabletop or duck bill and claw. Tabletop, claw. And again, repeat with both hands. The third exercise is also from the tabletop position, but this time we're going to bend our fingers down. Just the middle knuckle is bending. Well, actually, the first knuckle and the middle knuckle. We're not bending that small knuckle at the very end of our fingers. So straighten out, bend your fingers down at the middle knuckle. Straighten out, bend it down. So you're closing your fingers up. Okay. Then the next exercise, exercise number 4, we're going to close our fingers up into a fist. Put your hand out, close your fingers up into a fist, out and into a fist. You could actually also do stretch your fingers out, close your hand up into a fist, stretch your fingers out, close your hand up into a fist. So you can feel that stretching those muscles in your hand, in the palm of your hand and in your fingers when you stretch that hand out like that. Again, 10 repetitions is the eventual goal. The 5th exercise is to make an O with each one of your fingers. So I'm going to hold my hand out like this, and then I'm going to take my index finger and touch the tip of my thumb. Straighten my hand back out, make an O with my middle finger. straighten my hand back out, make an O with my ring finger, straighten my hand back out and make an O with my pinky, touching the tip of my pinky to the end of my thumb. When I get to the pinky, then I'm going to slide my thumb down to the base of my pinky where my finger meets my hand, and then I'm going to start over. Index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Slide it down and do it again. And then the last exercise is actually very simple. Hold your hand up, fingers all together, then spread your fingers apart as wide as you can stretch them. Back together, stretch them out. Back together, stretch them out. And when you finish that exercise routine for your hands, you'll feel a little bit of hand fatigue from doing that. And that just goes to show that you're building up those muscles in your hands so that you can actually perhaps stitch without so much hand fatigue in the future. Now, in addition to hand exercises, there are also some hand care products that I wanted to make sure that I shared with you as well, because as you know, as stitchers, we don't want to use any kind of a hand cream or hand lotion that's going to leave a residue on our needlework. So I have some favorites that I want to share with you. And what do you say we get started? All right, so I have 4 different hand creams that I'm going to share with you. These are the ones that I use religiously. I use them at different times for different reasons, and I'll share a little bit about each one with you if that's okay. All right, so we'll start with this one. This is Clarins, and this is their Super Restorative Hand Cream. I like to use this one at night. You don't have to use very much at all. It's a really nice formula. It's light, not greasy. In fact, none of these are greasy. But one thing you do want to make sure whenever you're using some type of a hand cream, you don't always have to use just a ton. In fact, just a little bit, about the size of an English pea, is usually sufficient. The thing I like about this is that it's really also very good for your cuticles. If you've ever worked with stranded silk, you know how challenging it can be to have rough spots on your hands because it just snags the thread. This helps to combat that, because it does really work well on not only your hands, but on your cuticles around your nails as well. All right, next up is a Hava. This is one of my all-time favorite hand creams too. And I tend to use this one in the evening, at night, because it is so rich and creamy. And I just really, it's very restorative to your skin. It doesn't take very much, just a little bit, again, about the size of an English pea, goes a long way. And just another really, really good, nourishing hand cream. And then we have a lot of people's favorite, O'Keeffe's Working Hands. Now, it's a cream as well. I'll open it up and show you. You can see it's a thick, rich cream. This is one that you don't need very much of either. In fact, all of these are that way. You don't need very much. A little bit goes a long way. All of these you're going to want to allow to soak into your skin for about 8 to 10 minutes before you actually start stitching. None of them will leave a greasy residue on your hands, nor will they stain or damage your needlework. But again, you do want to let everything just kind of soak in really good before you start to stitch. If for no other reason, then it may be a little bit harder to grab and hold on to that needle if your hands are a little bit slippery from the lotion or from the hand cream. And finally, this is my all-time favorite, Seams Couturier's hand cream. This was actually created by a seamstress for seamstresses. It's made in the United Kingdom, and it says it absorbs instantly. It literally does. You could put this on, and within a minute or two, you could start stitching. And it's really good, also very moisturizing, but it is, again, it absorbs so quickly, and I've never had any problems with it leaving any kind of residue on anything I've ever worked with, not just needlepoint, but I do smocking and French hand sewing and knitting, and it's never left any kind of a residue on anything or stained anything that I've been working on. So again, Seams, out of the UK. You do have to order this from the UK. At least I've not found it anywhere in the United States that you can get it, but you can also order it in larger quantities so that you can save on some of that shipping. And they have specials every now and then. So they do have a website. I would encourage you to check that one out as well. So there you have it. 4 of my all-time favorite hand creams. You have Clarins, which is easily readily available here in the States. Ahava, which is a little bit harder to find, but I will say I got this tube at Von Maur in Birmingham, so it is available in some department stores. Then O'Keeffe's Working Hands, which is very readily available as well, drugstore, probably big box stores. And then finally Seams, which is again another one of those that's a little bit more difficult to find, but well worth the effort to get your hands on a tube of. So hope you found this information helpful. If you have a favorite hand cream that you like to use, share it down in the comments below. And if you have some hand exercises that I didn't share with you earlier, make sure you share those down in the comments below too, because we'd love to hear from you. I also want to encourage you to hop over to the Serendipity Needleworks website and read the blog post all about hand care for needle pointers. And that's it. Thanks for being here with me today. I hope you have a terrific rest of your day. Until next time, my friend, happy stitching. Bye for now.